The unbreakable soul. There comes a moment in every person's life when the noise of the world becomes too heavy to bear, when every voice outside begins to drown out the one within. You hear opinions that pierce like arrows. You feel betrayal that cuts deeper than words. You taste disappointment so bitter it lingers long after the moment has passed. And in that silence between breaths, you whisper to yourself, how much more can I take? But the truth is, what breaks most people isn't the weight itself. It's the belief that they were never meant to carry it. You see, the world has lied to you. It told you that pain means you're weak. It told you that failure means you're finished. It told you that if life hurts, you're doing something wrong. But listen closely. Pain is not your enemy. It's your maker. It's the fire that forges steel, and steel is what you're made of. You were meant to carry it. You were designed for resistance. You were built to endure. Just like the nation of America, forged in the heat of struggle, baptized in the fire of adversity, and crowned with the strength of perseverance, America was not built on comfort, but on courage, on men and women who looked at storms and said, "We will not be broken." And that same spirit, that same unstoppable flame, lives inside you. You are so precious for being here right now. The fact that you clicked and chose to watch this shows your hunger for truth. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear is not just knowledge, but life for your soul. Please subscribe, like, and share this message so that others just as precious as you may also find this light. We live in a time when people confuse noise for strength, where shouting is seen as power and silence is mistaken for weakness. But the Stoics, the ancient warriors of thought, knew something different. They understood that real strength is quiet. It doesn't need to prove itself. It doesn't need to scream to be heard. It stands tall, even when the world around it crumbles. Real peace doesn't shout. It walks with calmness through chaos. It speaks softly in the face of storms. It doesn't need validation because it knows what it is. And that's what I want you to remember. The world will always test you. The storms will always come. The losses, the heartbreaks, the betrayals, they are part of the refining process. But none of these things define you unless you allow them to. The great emperor Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That sentence alone can change your life if you let it. Because what he meant is this: you may not control what happens to you, but you can always control what happens within you. And when you master that, when your peace no longer depends on circumstances, you become untouchable. Imagine that for a moment. Living in a world where nothing external can steal your calm, where people's opinions lose their power, where the past loses its sting, where the chaos of the world cannot shake what's inside of you. That is the Stoic life. That is the unbreakable soul. You are not here by accident. You were guided to this moment because deep within you, there's a part that refuses to give up, no matter how many times you've been pushed down. There's a strength in you that the world didn't give, and therefore it can never take away. So take a deep breath, feel it in your chest. You are still here. You are still standing. And that means the world hasn't beaten you. It has simply trained you for what's coming next. This is the moment your unbreakable life begins. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, the fire that forged you. You've been through pain, haven't you? You've watched people walk away. You've heard promises that never became reality. You've looked in the mirror and seen tears fall that no one else saw. But here you are, still breathing, still standing. That alone makes you stronger than most will ever understand. Pain changes people. It refines the soul in ways comfort never can. The moments you thought would destroy you were the moments that built you. Every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every door that closed, none of it was punishment. It was preparation. Because life doesn't shape the strong with ease, it shapes them with resistance. Pressure creates diamonds. Heat refines gold, and fire forges steel. You, my friend, are that steel. You may bend, but you do not break. You may burn, but you do not crumble. Because the same flame that tried to consume you was actually purifying you. In America, they call it grit. That relentless determination to keep moving when the odds say you shouldn't. It's the same spirit that built this nation from dust and dream. When the world said give up, Americans said try again. When others bowed to fear, they stood tall in faith. And that same grit, that same divine stubbornness, is alive in you. Every heartbreak, every failure, every season of silence was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to refine you, to strip away who you thought you were, so you could finally see who you really are. The Stoics understood this truth long before our time. They didn't run from pain. They didn't curse the fire. They looked it in the eyes and said, good, because pain was their teacher, adversity was their classroom, and peace, true peace, was the diploma. Seneca once wrote, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Think about that. Every challenge, every obstacle, every heartbreak has been your gym, your soul's weight training. Every struggle has been sculpting something invisible within you, a quiet, unshakable strength. So when life presses you to the edge, remember this: the same fire that melts wax hardens steel. And you are not wax. You are not fragile. You are not a product of weakness. You are the result of divine craftsmanship under pressure. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel pain. Even the Stoics wept, but they never quit. They understood that tears are not a sign of surrender, but proof that the heart still cares enough to fight. Look back for a moment. Everything that was meant to break you has already passed, and yet you're still here, standing taller, thinking deeper, loving wiser. That's growth. That's resilience. That's power. And maybe life hasn't given you what you wanted yet, but it's given you what you needed, the strength to endure until your time arrives. Because nothing truly great is built without pressure. Every mountain peak was once deep beneath the earth. Every hero was once just a person who refused to quit. And every masterpiece was once a mess that didn't make sense until it was complete. You are that masterpiece in motion. And one day when you look back, you'll realize everything that hurt you was actually healing you. Everything that fell apart was falling into place. So don't run from your fire. Don't curse the heat. Let it mold you. Let it teach you. Let it make you unstoppable. Because the truth is simple. You are what happens when pain meets purpose. You are proof that the fire never destroys the chosen. It refines them. And after all you've been through, you're not just surviving. You're becoming unbreakable. Please subscribe, like, and share this message. Because someone out there right now needs to hear that their fire is not the end, it's the beginning. Silence is your strength. The world today shouts too much. Every headline screams. Every opinion demands your soul. Every notification competes for your peace. It's like living in a room where everyone's talking, but no one is truly saying anything. But strength, real strength, doesn't need to scream. It whispers. It breathes in stillness. It walks calmly through chaos, unbothered by the noise. Because true power doesn't need attention to exist. It doesn't crave applause, it carries peace. Silence is the rarest currency of our generation. People fear it because it exposes them to their own thoughts. But the Stoics embraced it because silence was where truth spoke. When the world shouted, they withdrew into their own mind, not to escape, but to strengthen. In ancient Rome, Stoicism wasn't a philosophy for comfort seekers. It was a discipline for warriors, those who faced pain, loss, and chaos without letting it touch their inner calm. They trained their minds the way soldiers trained their bodies. Every insult became an exercise in restraint. Every hardship became a lesson in endurance. Every silence became a weapon of clarity. Epictetus once said, "If someone speaks badly of you, do not defend yourself. You are what you are." That is the kind of power the world can't comprehend anymore. To walk through the fire of judgment and never let it scorch your identity. Because here's the truth. No one can hurt you unless you let them define you. And no voice, no label, no insult has the right to rewrite your worth. In America, people talk about freedom all the time. Freedom of speech, freedom of choice, freedom to dream. But the highest form of freedom isn't political, it's spiritual. It's the freedom from the need to be understood by everyone. Freedom from being controlled by what others think. Freedom from reacting to every opinion like it's a personal attack. That's the kind of freedom no government can give and no enemy can take away. When you learn to remain calm while the world burns, you become untouchable. You stop chasing noise, and the noise loses its power. You stop explaining yourself, and peace moves in like quiet armor. Silence doesn't mean weakness, it means wisdom. It's the art of conserving energy for what truly matters. It's knowing when to speak and when to walk away. It's the understanding that every reaction costs you something, and you can't afford to waste your peace. Look at the great leaders, the quiet heroes, the men and women who changed history. They didn't need to shout, they led with presence. They carried conviction in their calm. They spoke with few words, but their silence spoke louder than their enemies' noise. That's the mark of the Stoic spirit. So take a moment right now. Breathe. Let the noise fade. Feel the quiet return to you like a forgotten friend. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where your destiny has planted you. And if the world doesn't understand you, that's okay. It didn't understand the great ones either. Because greatness is rarely loud. It grows in hidden places.
It builds in still moments.
It speaks when it must, and stays silent when it can. So, the next time someone underestimates your quietness, smile, because they have mistaken your peace for passivity, when in truth, it's your greatest form of control. The storm can rage around you, but you will remain unmoved, calm, centered, free, because silence isn't your weakness, it's your superpower. Please subscribe, like and share this message. Someone out there needs to be reminded that silence is strength, the mind of a warrior. There's something sacred about resilience. It's not about pretending nothing hurts. It's not about smiling while you bleed. It's about walking through pain and still whispering, "I'm still here." That's the sound of strength, not the roar of pride, but the quiet breath of endurance. Because real warriors aren't made in comfort. They're made in chaos. They're born in silence. When no one is watching, when every reason to quit whispers louder than every reason to stay. And yet, they stay. They rise again. They move forward, not because life is easy, but because they have decided that defeat is not an option. The Stoics taught that the body can be chained, but the mind remains free. And isn't that what America stands for? Freedom that cannot be conquered. The land that said, "We may fall, but we rise again." That's the warrior spirit of a nation, and it's the same fire that burns in you. You can take away the house, the job, the relationship, but you cannot take away the will to rise again. You can lose everything you thought defined you, and still stand tall, because what truly defines you cannot be touched. Epictetus knew that truth. Born a slave, chained in body but never in mind. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And those words echo across time, reminding us that no external force can break the spirit that chooses peace over panic, purpose over pain. That's the creed of the unbreakable. The creed of those who no longer wait for the world to be kind before choosing peace. The creed of those who no longer beg for things to go their way before deciding to be grateful. Because warriors don't need conditions, they live by conviction. You, my friend, are that warrior. Every morning you wake up and face life again, you win. Every time you choose forgiveness over bitterness, you win. Every time you choose gratitude over complaint, you win. Every time you take another step when your legs shake, you win. The battle may be invisible, but the victories are real. They're written in every scar that healed, every tear that dried, every time you said, "I can't," and still did. The Stoics believed that the mind is like a fortress. No one enters unless you open the gate. And maybe it's time you close those gates to fear, doubt, and regret. Maybe it's time to guard your peace the same way America guards her freedom with unshakable conviction. Because the mind of a warrior isn't easily shaken. It knows that storms don't last forever. It understands that every trial has a purpose, and it refuses to surrender control over what cannot be controlled. Look at your life. Every setback has trained you. Every heartbreak has strengthened you. Every delay has humbled you. You have been in training for resilience, and the world didn't even notice. But now you see it. The strength, the wisdom, the calm, all of it earned through the fire you didn't think you'd survive. So stop questioning your worth. You've already proven it. Stop chasing validation. You've already earned it. You've fought through things others would have surrendered to, and yet you're still standing. That's not luck. That's mastery. That's what it means to have the mind of a warrior. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by what you chose to become despite it. And when you walk in that truth, you become unstoppable. Because nothing can conquer a soul that has already conquered itself. Please subscribe, like, and share this message. Someone out there right now needs to be reminded that they are not losing, they are learning how to rise. Nothing and nobody will ever break you again. Let this truth settle deep inside your chest. Breathe it in slowly. Let it sink beneath the noise, beneath the doubt, beneath every scar you've carried alone. Because what I'm about to remind you of is simple, but it's everything. Nothing that left you was meant to stay. No person that betrayed you could ever define you. No storm that passed through your life can erase the strength it left behind. Every ending you faced was never rejection. It was redirection. Every heartbreak was a chapter, not the whole book. Every loss was a hidden blessing wearing the mask of pain. You see, the fire doesn't destroy gold, it reveals it. And you are gold. You've walked through the kind of heat that could have shattered you, but instead it shaped you. It carved wisdom where there used to be wounds. It built silence where there used to be noise. It gave you vision where there used to be confusion. And now you rise, not bitter, but better. Not angry, but aware. Not broken, but beautifully rebuilt. America's story is your story. Born out of struggle, refined through war, strengthened by storms, but unbreakable because of faith. Faith in something greater. Faith that tomorrow can still be better than today. Faith that no amount of chaos can erase what's written in your destiny. Just like this nation, you've been through battles that tried to rewrite your identity, but your soul refused to surrender. You've stood on the battlefield of your own life and said, "I will not let this defeat define me." That's not just courage, that's resurrection. You are unbreakable because you've already been broken, and yet you still choose to love. You still choose to forgive. You still choose to try again. That is strength. That is Stoicism in motion. Because strength is not loud. It's not found in shouting that you're fine. It's found in standing silently with a heart that's been through war and still choosing to believe in peace. Listen, nobody can break what God has already rebuilt. Nobody can silence a mind that's made peace with its past. Nobody can take from you what you no longer need to survive. You've grown beyond the reach of small things. You've evolved past the opinions that once haunted you. You've learned to find calm in the chaos, and that calm has become your crown. So stand tall. Speak little, act boldly, and never again give your peace to what doesn't deserve it. Because the one who guards their peace rules their world, and now, this is your world. You've earned it through sleepless nights, through quiet battles, through all the times you rose when no one thought you would. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You don't need to seek validation from anyone. You've passed the test life gave you. And now, you live not as the wounded, but as the warrior. So when fear tries to return, smile at it. When doubt whispers, you can't, answer with, watch me. When the world tries to shake you, remember, you've already survived the worst days of your life. Everything from here is a rise, not a fall. You are not who you were before the pain. You are who emerged after it. And that version of you is unstoppable. So today, make this promise to yourself. You will never let the world take your peace again. You will never let another person control your worth. You will never let fear write your future. Because you, my friend, are unbreakable. And from this day forward, nothing and nobody will ever break you again. Please subscribe, like, and share this message. Someone out there right now needs to remember that broken things can still rise and shine brighter than ever. The silent power within. Remember this. Every great nation was first built inside the heart of a single believer. Before the flag was raised, before the battles were won, there was always someone who refused to give up, someone who believed when everyone else doubted. Faith always begins in one heart before it echoes through a generation. And every unbreakable person was once a broken one who decided to rise. No hero begins as a conqueror. They begin as someone who has been through the fire, someone who has faced the weight of disappointment, someone who has been brought to their knees and still whispered, I will not end here. That's the silent power within you. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg for attention. It simply keeps moving forward, even when the world tells you to stop. It keeps believing when logic says there's no reason to. It keeps hoping, even in the ashes. Because somewhere deep inside your soul, you already know you were not made to break. You were made to bend, to stretch, to learn, but not to shatter. You were made to endure, to fall 7 times and rise 8. That's what makes you extraordinary. So don't let fear write your story. Fear loves to remind you of every failure, but faith reminds you of every comeback. Fear shows you your scars, but faith shows you how much strength they carry. Fear whispers that it's over, but faith declares it's only the beginning. Don't let the past hold the pen. You owe your past your lessons, not your loyalty. The mistakes you made were chapters, not the ending. Every failure taught you something success never could. That you can survive, that you can adapt, that you can rise again. Your life is still being written. Every sunrise is a new page. Every breath is proof that God is not done with you. And every decision you make is another sentence in your story of redemption. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going. When the noise of doubt grows loud, go silent. Because real power doesn't come from speaking louder. It comes from standing stronger. Stillness is not weakness. It's control. It's knowing that storms end, and the one who waits with patience always wins. Inside you lives a fire that no one can extinguish. It's quiet, but it's eternal. It's the part of you that remembers who you were before fear tried to erase you. It's the whisper that says, try again. It's the light that never goes out, no matter how dark it gets. You are free. Free from who you were yesterday. Free from the opinions that once chained your spirit. Free to rebuild, to love, to believe again. You are strong, because real strength isn't in what you've conquered. It's in what you've endured and still chosen to keep your heart open. And you are unbreakable. Not because life spared you, but because it tested you and you survived. You've seen what pain can do. But you've also seen what faith can rebuild. You've walked through fire and came out as gold. So from this moment forward, walk in peace, walk in strength, walk in quiet confidence, knowing this truth: nothing and nobody will ever break you again. Your power doesn't come from noise, but from the stillness that says, I am enough. It comes from the calm that refuses to be shaken. It comes from knowing that even in silence, your spirit speaks louder than fear ever could. So breathe, lift your head, and move forward with grace, because your story isn't over. It's just getting started. Please subscribe, like, and share this message, because someone out there right now needs to remember who they are: a soul that can bend but never break, a light that can dim but never die, a heart that still believes even after the storm.